Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to model a simple shed in Revit. Alright, without further ado, let's hit new model here in the top left. And then for the template file, we're going to click browse. And I'm going to go to a residential default here. And make sure we're in project and hit OK. Then when it loads up, you'll see a screen that looks like this. This is our first floor plan. So this is where we're going to start drawing. So we're going to start right in here. So make sure you're on the first floor plan here on the bottom left. This is your project browser. This is where you can see all your different elevation floor plans. You could go to 3D and elevation sides. So starting here in the first floor plan, we're going to click wall in the top left. And it's going to load up a basic generic 6-inch wall here. So we're going to hit edit type here. And it's going to bring up a menu for structural properties. So we're going to duplicate this and we're going to name it, let's just name it shed wall 2x4. And then here we can click structure edit. So this is the structural component tab for your wall properties. You can add things like your internal drywall. You can add insulation layers. You can add your sheathing for the outside. You can add external siding. And then that will kind of give you a thickness for the wall. So for here, we have a structural component in the middle with the boundaries. So you could see this is the exterior side up here, interior side. So here we're just going to do, we're going to insert one in here. We're going to have actually we don't need to insert one, sorry. So we're going to make this our 2x4. So this is going to be 3.5 inches since it's our thickness of the 2x4. And then on the outside, we're going to have okay, so we are gonna have to insert one. Sorry, you can't edit these. So we're gonna insert an outside. So this is gonna be like a 1/4-inch plywood on the outside. Excuse me. So we're gonna have a 1/4-inch plywood, and if you click these 3 dots, you can actually specify what you want. So we're just gonna do plywood sheathing here. And then this is going to be just a structural component, so I'm not going to really specify what that is. And then we're not making an insulated shed, so we're just going to leave it like that. So we're going to click OK. And then hit OK, apply, and OK again. Alright, so now we are drawing with our basic shed wall here. So in the top middle, I'm going to select the rectangle and just make a basic rectangle here. Let's say we want a let's see, we want a 12 foot by 14 foot maybe. So let's make this 12 foot by 14. So you could click the wall lengths themselves to adjust these numbers, and then they will lock to those. Alright, so now that we have our first layer of walls down, we can change the view here to a 3-dimensional view. And now we could kind of see our shape here starting to form. In the bottom middle, as you can see, it's only wireframe. So in the bottom left, we can change this to a fine with realistic textures. And once it loads, you can see that it gives the building kind of like a realistic look. So you can see our walls are way too high. So we're going to go to our first floor, select these, and on the left in our properties, you can see an unconnected height. So what I'm going to do, instead of changing this, you could change this to just like an 8-foot wall or whatever your specified height is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into 3D. So we're going to go ahead and select all our walls by holding Control. And then on the left, our base constraint is going to be first floor, and our top constraint is going to be up to level second floor. So then that will specify our elevations for the walls. So you can see if we click a north here, so now the walls are 9 foot tall. So if we want to change that, we can change this number here, and that will change our whole second floor elevation, and our walls will stay constrained to that. All right, moving on, we're going to go back to the first floor floor plan, and we're going to add a door here. So in the top left, we can hit door, and in the top left again, kind of where we had the wall properties, we have a bunch of different doors. So you can see all the preset properties they have in here. You can see if you want any of these. If not, which it doesn't look like any of these are too convincing. All right, so we're going to go to insert in the top menu bar. Then we're going to do load Autodesk family with the cloud icon. It's going to open up a menu like this. On the left, we're going to go to the doors category. And then as you can see, it gives us a bunch of different options for doors here. So scrolling through, there's a bunch of different options. I'm just going to go with a standard door with a glass pane here. And I want all these sizes, so hit OK. And there you go. In the top left, you can see that we've imported this specific door. So clicking on this, you can select the door itself. And I'm going to select the door. And then if you just hover over your walls, it'll show the door itself. And depending on which side of the wall, which way you want it to open, you can move your cursor either way. So I'm going to want it to open inwards, and I'm going to center it so 6 foot on both sides, just like that, and click. And as you can see, if we go back to the 3D view, you can now see the door in place. Same thing with the east view. Alright, to add more detail to the shed, we're going to add a couple windows. So back to architectural, windows, and same thing as the doors. You're going to see a bunch of different options here. I'm going to go with the fixed with trim 36 by 48 inch window, and then just go in here and drag a couple of them in here. Placement doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of winging this in here, just like that. Back to 3D view. As you can see, we got windows in place now, just like that. Perfect. So now let's go back to first floor. We're gonna add a concrete slab for the floor. So once again, gonna go to the floor. Everything's pretty self-explanatory here. Everything has its own tool almost. So we're gonna go create a square around the outside edge of the walls we have, and click the check mark in the top middle. And then once again, we're going to change the structural component to a concrete slab of 4 inches because they already have it here. And you can kind of click off of it. And there you go. Now you have a 4-inch slab as a floor for our shed. Alright, last but not least, we're going to add a roof to our basic shed. So just like the floor, there's a button for this. So we're going to click roof here in the top left of the architectural tab. And then we're going to change it from a basic roof. We're going to change it to a wood rafter 8-inch asphalt shingle. And then we're going to change the base level to second floor because that's the height of our wall constraint. And then we're going to click in the top middle. We're going to click the rectangle so that we can choose our border. So then I'm going to make a rectangle around that. And then as you can see, each of these walls have an angle around the border. And this basically means that that roof that roof face is going to have an angle sloped upwards. So as you can see that there's an angle on each of these, so you can kind of expect it to be like a pyramid almost from these shapes. So if I go ahead and hit the check mark here and go to the 3D, you can see that the roof kind of looks like a pyramid. Okay. So if we go back to the first floor plan, actually let's click on the roof first, double click the roof until it shows up the outlines, and then go back to the first floor plan. We can click, so the way that I want it to be is I want this wall here to be flat on the roof. I want this to be flat and this to be flat, and have the angle coming up on this side. So that way it makes it kind of like into a triangle here. So I'm going to click this wall. I'm going to click define slope. I'm going to uncheck this box. And then I'm also going to do the same thing on this wall. And as you can see, the triangle disappears on these walls. And then I'm going to hit check mark again and back to 3D. And there you go. So now you can see that the roof has kind of like a more normal shape here. So now all we got to do is connect these walls to the roof so that it finishes the wall. So I'm going to click the wall itself. I'm going to click attach top to base, and then I'm going to click the roof. And then as you can see, it pulls the wall up to the roof. So now I'm going to click this side. I'm going to look on this side of the building, and I'm going to do the same thing. Click on this wall, attach top to base, click on the roof, and there we go. So as you can see, now it is fully sealed, and we have a shed here. Alright, so this doesn't look normal at all, actually. We're going to need to add an overhang, a little bit of an overhang for the roof, just to make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to double click the roof again, and if you go back to first floor, there actually is a tool that does this by itself, but I'm just going to do it manually. So we're going to just drag this out. We're going to drag it out about 8 inches because the wall, it's like half the wall and plus 6. So we're going to take this there, that there, and you can also change the angle of your roof. So this is a 9-inch by 12-inch. So basically what this means is that over a 12-inch length, it's going to change in 9 inches of elevation. So actually this is a pretty steep roof. So if I wanted to change this to be a little shallower, we could change this to like a 512. And then same thing with this side. We can change this to a 512 as well. And if we do that and hit OK and go back to 3D, you can see that the roof is a lot more shallower. And now we have an overhang. So this looks a lot more realistic. And we can actually also add a lot more things to this. But this is just a basic shed tutorial. I just wanted to show you guys how to use the basic tools in Revit and how to model something fairly quickly so that you can, master these tools and start crafting things that you want to make. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want to learn next, so I can start pumping out more videos. I'm trying my best to record whenever I can. However, I am pretty busy, so if you guys reach out and let me know what you want to learn, that'll help me out a lot in making future videos. But please subscribe. It really helps a lot. Lets me know that you guys are interested in this type of thing, and like the video so that other people can see the tutorials like this. And without further ado, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.